What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Building Through Strength. Hope everybody's been having a good one. Hope you've been enjoying the episodes and whatnot. Uh, I hope everything something's been registering with you lately. Something that you felt like you needed or felt like you did need, but you got out of it. I hope it's really been you've been retaining some of the information and been able to apply it. That's the whole goal. This episode is titled "Mind to Muscle." So in this episode, we're gonna dive into the gym. This is gonna be one of those physical aspects of building through strength. How we talk about building physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally as well. But this one, I kind of want to talk more about physically a little bit, and then more spiritually a little bit as well. The reason why I really want to talk about this is because I was in the gym the other day, and it was a push day, so I was hitting chest and tries, and I was doing specifically incline dumbbell press. And I get through it, whatever, and I'm driving back, and I'm like, hold up, I'm trying to build my upper chest, and I want to focus on the muscles in my upper chest. So let's do something about focus. Let's do something about being intentional about what we're doing, whether that's being intentional about being in the gym, whether that's being intentional about our walk with Christ, whether that's being intentional about our mental health. And I was like, yeah, I gotta cook with this one. So I, came back, talked to some stuff in ChatGPT, threw some Bible verses in there, and it cooked. It cooked. I can't lie. So just working with it, man. So the first thing is what is mind to muscle connection. So for those of you who don't know, mind to muscle connection is basically when you're in the gym and you're doing a certain workout and you want to target a certain muscle. You want your mind to focus on the muscle that you're targeting. You want to feel the squeeze, you want to feel the contraction, you want to feel that muscle stretching. um like if I'm doing cable flies, once I um get that contraction, I want to feel that muscle tensing up. I want to feel that squeeze in that muscle. When I'm doing incline bench, I want to feel the stretch at the bottom. And when I push up, I want to feel the stretch at the top. I want, oh, not the stretch, but the contraction at the top. I want to feel that muscle working. I want my mind focusing on that muscle. And that's been something that I've been doing lately. Been real focused on science-based lifting. So, um, not just doing 4 sets of 5, heavy weight and calling it a day, or doing 3 sets of 10 and feeling the burn and then going to the next. It's most of my sets are probably what I like to do is like I find myself doing like two sets of 6 to 8 with the top set. So I'll have like one warm up set, 2 sets of 6 to 8 as my top set, or 8 to 10 if I'm looking for hypertrophy. And those 2 sets at the top set are really focused weights. I'm not going absurdly heavy. I'm going at a weight that's about a RPE of like 7, 8. So with RPE is on a scale of 1 to 10, and it's basically the level of difficulty. So 10 is the hardest, 1 is the easiest. And so 7 to 8. So like I feel the burn, and I'm leaving like 2, 3 reps in the tank. So when you're going for that hypertrophy, you want to get a good stretch. You want to feel that stretch, and you want to get a good contraction. You want to feel the squeeze. And honestly, it's where I've found the most growth in that. Um, so I don't go in there trying to look like the biggest lifter lifting the heaviest weights. It's really just how can I control this weight that I'm lifting? Um, so let's say I'll go like 55, 60 pounds, and I'll work at a 3 second eccentric on the way down, feel the stretch, do like a 1 second pause at the bottom, and then I want to explode up. So like 3 seconds down, hold for 1 second, explode up for one. Just to get that contraction at the top. On the way down, I'm controlling the way down. feeling that stretch for that 1 second, and then building that speed and that strength and the power on the way up. And it's found some really good gains from it. I found really good gains from it because I'm being intentional about what I'm targeting. I'm not trying to lift my whole entire chest at once. That's for bench, um, dumbbell bench, any flat bench, anything, or any contraction movement like a fly or anything like that. But specifically with incline bench, I'm targeting my upper chest. That's what I want to grow. And honestly, that's really what life is about. Focusing on one thing, targeting that thing, getting that thing bigger, and then we can move on to the next thing that we want to target. So once my chest is big, okay, like my chest is growing. Okay, let's target my upper chest because I want it to look fuller. I want it to look rounder. I want it to be like a little pillow on my chest. So that's what I'm targeting right now. And like in life, I'm targeting my mental health right now. I'm going out of my way to journal or read a book or find some type of quiet time for myself. And it's helping because I'm focusing on that. I'm looking at that. Spiritually, getting in your Bible and actually like focusing in, like what is God trying to tell me here? How does this apply to my life? Stuff like that. And I mean, we the reason why I say this is because like we go through life, we go through life, we just go through the motions of it. We just, okay, let me wake up today and I'm gonna make my breakfast and I'm gonna go to work or I'm gonna go to class and just handle my business and then go to practice or go to the gym after, lift weights, listen to my music, and then when I get home, I'm gonna eat dinner, call it a day, go to sleep. Like that's some people, that's how they live their lives. But once you start being intentional about it, okay, I'm gonna wake up this morning, I'm gonna eat 3 eggs, throw some egg whites in there, throw a seasoning blend in there for the vegetables, trying to get my day started like that. Or wake up, read my Bible. I'm reading Romans right now. I want to read chapters 1, 2, and 3. Find what I can find in that, and then see what God's trying to tell me. You see how like I basically told you my morning in the same amount of time that I told you about my day, but you can tell the difference between intentionality versus telling you about just what I do, going through the motions of it. And it's hard to be intentional. It's hard to just go through the motions. It's not hard to go through the motions. It's hard to be intentional. It's hard to do stuff and have that mindset of I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this and it's going to mean something to me. And once you start to become intentional about doing those things, then that's when you'll see the growth. That's when you'll reap the benefits that you're expecting. Um I want to be a certain man. I want to be this certain picture of a man that I have for myself. How am I supposed to get there just going through the motions? If I want to be a man who's able to, live in the country on a nice house or whatever, how am I supposed to know how to buy a house that's in the country? How am I supposed to know what's a good price for a house? Dang, my man Asher is killing dinner right now. He was supposed to eat earlier, but he didn't want to eat. But y'all just gonna have to sit here and hear him chew, I guess. But back on topic, like how am I supposed to know what financial stability is? How am I supposed to know how to spend my money if I'm not watching videos, looking at stocks, looking at how the stock market is flowing? Because if I'm just going through the motions, I'm going to lose some money somehow, some way. I might overbuy a house, or I might overbuy groceries if I'm not paying attention. So it could be the little smallest tiniest things is what's going to pay off. It's what's going to start turning those wheels. It's what's going to start clicking. And the saying "how you do anything is how you do everything" is very very real because there's no way that you can be intentional about one thing in life and then lack off in the other. You're not going to find that kind of that um imbalance in that. how you do anything is how you do everything. So if I'm in the gym and I'm intentional about the gym, if I'm intentional about how I work out, if I'm intentional about how I eat, that's going to drive my daily life of being intentional about what I do in school. It's going to be intentional about how I talk to people, intentional about how I treat people, and it's all going to mesh together. And that's the goal. That's what's going to happen once you start doing one small thing right. Once you start doing one small thing intentionally, then that's when everything's going to start turning around. Everything's going to start snowballing and going into it. And I mean, this isn't just me saying it; it's in the Bible. Colossians chapter 3, verse 23. It says, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters." Paul is Paul is basically telling us like how you do anything is how you do everything. He's basically telling us like, yes, if you're working hard for the Lord spiritually, it's gonna work. That means like you're gonna be like, dang, like I prayed today, I did all this stuff, I was intentional with God today. If I take that same mindset and put it into the gym, or put it into how I talk to people, or put it into whatever, then it'll start happening. It's that mind to muscle connection. It's that you're building those that muscle memory in yourself of doing the right things right, doing the right things right consistently, and that's where you'll see the most growth for yourself, for other people, for everything. And for me personally, that's where I've seen my most growth. I'm not saying that I don't slip up. You're going to slip up. You're going to have days where you go through the motions, and you're going to have days where life is just harder today than it was yesterday. We're all humans. It all happens. But being consistent and focusing on what you need to do, handling the business that you need to handle, it all flows in together. It rings that bell, and you get a small dopamine hit off of, dang, like I really did this exactly how I wanted to do it. Um, my challenge to you guys is pick pick one small thing in your day. So think about what you got going on tomorrow, and pick one small thing that you think that you can do to be intentional about. Um, a good example is making your bed and putting your pillows in the right order that you want them to be put in. If you got one pillow, put it in the middle of the bed. If you got three pillows, put two pillows on the sides, put one in the middle. Just being intentional about that. Being intentional about how you put your sheets in or whatever. And it's not only with your bed. It could be, okay, I got practice today. We're in camp right now. A lot of players are in camp. I got a good episode that I'll probably just double drop tomorrow with for you guys um about that, or double drop today. I talked to Clayton Hickson with Walford football, and we had a really good conversation about camp and going into stuff like that. But being intentional about how you handle camp, being intentional how you handle school. We got school coming up. It'll really start snowballing into your daily lives. Back to the physical aspect of it with the gym. When I do upper chest, or if I am focusing on upper chest, I put my bench at 30-45 degree angle. So I'm sitting at an angle, and I'm pushing up so I can feel my chest contract. My top movements for building my upper chest, my incline bench. I get on Smith bench, and I go to a failure sometimes on that. Decline push-ups are really good. If you want to go to the cable machine, you want to do cable flies. Go from a low to a high um, hand movement. So start low, finish high. Landmine presses are really good too. I've been doing a lot of landmine presses, not only for my upper chest, but for my shoulders as well sometimes. And the biggest thing when I'm doing that, I'm thinking about, okay, I want to keep my chin tucked. I want to keep my back on the bench, or I want to keep my back stable. I want to brace my core, and I want to control it on the way down and squeeze at the top. Control it on the way down squeeze at the top. Um, Also, I don't think about, okay, I want to push it up as fast as I can and just throw the weight up in the air. I want to be able to have a good brace when I am pushing. So you may not be pushing it as fast or as powerful as you want to, but if you're pushing it with control, it's way better than pushing it without control. That's where you're going to find the most gains. Bracing your core is going to build your core up. It's going to stabilize your shoulders so you're not going to have as much injury in it. And being able to visualize that strength of where you want to target it is really going to be able to help the most. If you're lifting with somebody, um, have them touch that area so you can like feel that muscle contracting. If you get what I'm saying, um, that's for upper chest. Like I'm still recovering from this meniscus, and oh dang, today's washing. Okay, but I'm still recovering from this meniscus, and I want to focus on my quads. I want to build this strength around my knee, so I have a quad focused leg day. So I'll still do some leg stuff. I'll still squat. I still do certain movements, but I'm when I do those squats, I'm front squatting, or I'm doing a Smith machine squat with my legs closer, stuff like that to focus on that certain muscle. And it's challenging. It's very hard because you want to see growth fast, and I want to see growth fast, but like the thing is, you're not going to see that growth very quickly. You're focusing on a muscle that hasn't been worked before, a muscle that's probably weaker. So that muscle has to catch up with the rest of your body. And then once it does catch up with the rest of your body, then that's when you get stronger. That's when you start seeing those results. And that's with life, honestly. Um, the reason why I say this is like you can think about it this way. Your your upper chest may be your depression that you're battling. If you're battling depression right now and you're just dealing with a lot of stuff right now and you're just taking small steps like, okay, I'm gonna focus on just smiling today. You're not gonna just be smiling, just walking around, not thinking about it. But you see somebody, you're like, hey, let me just smile at them, give them a nod. That's intentionality. You might be battling like forgiveness. Honestly, I'm still battling forgiveness sometimes with some people, and being intentional about having conversations with them and not thinking about how they did me wrong or how I did them wrong or so on and so forth, but having that conversation with an open heart or having that conversation with, okay, I want to see their side. My biggest thing right now is I'm focusing on my vulnerability. Still working on it every single day of when somebody asks me what's wrong or somebody tells me like, hey, you look a little off. Are you okay? I'm still trying to find a way to be like, nah, I'm having a rough day. I can't lie to you. And being honest, not only with them, but being honest with myself. Like, I don't want to tell somebody I'm having a good day if I'm not having a good day. I don't want to tell somebody that life is sunshine and rainbows and I'm struggling because I'm lying to myself. I'm making myself think that, something's going great when something is honestly isn't. And I want to be genuine. I want to be more authentic about it. And it's a struggle. It's not an overnight thing. Rome wasn't built in a day. So there's days where people ask me how you doing. I'm like, okay, I'm good, and I'm not. Or, it's just days like that. Stuff happens, but I try to be as intentional as possible. Of like, dang, I'm having a rough day, but it's gonna get better. I'm I'm I'm, I'm struggling right now, but I'm working. Just keeping 2 feet down and one head up, and I'm just moving. Building that, building that pattern, building that consistency is what's gonna make things just start falling in line. It's gonna make things just start falling in order. A good Bible verse for this is Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. It's so easy to get caught in the world. It's so easy to get caught up in outside noise. But focusing on who you are as a person, focusing on who you want to be as a person, it's going to change your brain chemistry. It's going to change how you're thinking. I'm still working on that. I'm not at that point yet where my brain is completely changed. My mindset is completely changed, but I am seeing improvement in thinking better, processing my feelings better, being more vulnerable. And my challenge to you guys is what are you neglecting? What muscles are you neglecting in your heart? So am I dealing with this that should be dealing better, or am I dealing with this that should be better? How can I do this better? And that could be physically. That could be like I need to work on my conditioning, or mentally I need to work on the way that I talk to people. It could be spiritually. I need to read my Bible more, pray more. One thing that I'm trying to be more intentional about with is reading the disciples of the book, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Listen to their testimony, well, their testimonies about what Christ is and who Christ is and who Jesus is. Because I got caught up in the letters of Paul, and I ain't gonna lie, when Paul was writing to them churches, he was speaking this stuff, but and that's very important of how we should live our lives. But now I want to be intentional about my walk with God, of learning who Jesus is, learning what Jesus did, why he did what he did, and apply it to my life. And it's going good. There's still some days where like I'll think to myself like, dang, like Jesus was really talking this stuff, but like at the same time, like there's still some stuff that don't really pertain to me, or I don't really find certain stuff that I could really use today in and like it's okay, it's fine, but at the same time, you still need to know God. You still need to know who Jesus is, and that's something that I'm really trying to remind myself of. I'm really trying to you know let it let it sit, because there's still some things that when he is talking about, it could be helpful sometime down the road, and I don't realize that. And I mean, it could go for you as well. um you could not realize something right now, but later on down the road it might click. I was on the phone with my pops earlier, and we had a long talk just about life and what's going on lately, and he asked some questions, and I was some it was some uncomfortable questions, I'm not gonna lie. But it wasn't uncomfortable in the fact that like, dang, like I want to get on the phone. It's like, dang, like I never thought about it that way. And I was asking him, I was like, hey, what should I say on the podcast? Like, what's so much to talk about? And the dad answer was obeying your parents. You should talk about obeying your parents. And I'm like, bro, why? Like, what's the point? And he was like, well, y'all turned out fine, and y'all obeyed us, and da da da. And I was like, okay, I get that, but what? Like, what's the point? Um, and just being able to ask those questions to find that intentionality behind what he wanted to get out of that, or what I wanted to get out of that, is something that I think everybody should do. If you're talking to your parents and you ask them a question and they say something, it's not disrespectful to ask why, but if it's not disrespectful if you ask why with the right intentions. If my parents tell me to go wash the dishes and I say why, that's that's kind of different than asking, hey, I don't think you should be talking to that girl. Oh, why don't you think I should be talking to that girl? And you wanting to like get an actual genuine answer. Then they're like, hey, heard that she was messing with so and so. Then like you're like, dang, okay, that's might be a good reason why. So ask your parents that why. If you're listening to your friends and they tell you to do something, or they ask you to do something, don't just be a yes man and just do it, or just go with the flow. Ask why. Get that extra thought, in, because you may learn something that you didn't think you would end up needing. The last thing that I want to cover, is your spirit over your struggle. You might be pushing some heavy weight in life right now, but is it the right weight? Are you spiritually aligned with the weight that you're pushing, or are you just pushing it in vain? Um, these past couple of months of going through a breakup, I've been trying to grow myself in a way that I could be the person that I want to be, but I kind of got lost in the, oh, I want to be a better person so I can look good so I can get back to her in a way that she will accept me. And I mean, I got lost into that very quickly because, I want a relationship back, but once I get that back, what what am I gonna do next? And it transformed from that to, I want to do better for myself because I want to be a better person to not only the next person I get in a relationship with, but the people that I talk to, the people that I interact with every day, that I interact with every day, as well as being able to interact with myself with honesty, with truth, and actually enjoying it, not feeling regrets and, being a yes man is something I don't want to say yes to. I don't want to, go into something with second thoughts or just hesitance. I don't go to the gym because I want to look big and strong and muscular and da 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 da. I go into the gym because my body's a temple and I want to live live it out. When somebody asks me why do I go to the gym, I just like lifting, but I like the process that it takes. I like breaking those muscles down to build those muscles up, and those muscles grow within that. But then at the same time, it's the mindset behind it. There's days that I don't want to go to the gym, but I'm like, dang, I need to go to the gym because one, it's therapy for me, it's physical therapy. But then at the same time, the intentionality behind it and the health benefits that I get from it they outweigh the pain that I go through or the soreness that I go through. Um, if I could just leave you with something, strength isn't just about moving resistance; it's about moving with purpose. When you're driving down the road in the rain, I bet you're pretty locked in. Like if it's pouring down raining outside, I bet you're. Some people don't like driving in the rain. They're driving two hands on the steering wheel, looking right between the dotted lines. Um, that's so much different than when you're driving and it's nice and sunny out and you're on the highway and nobody else is on the highway. That's when you cruising one arm on the steering wheel, kind of in and out of some in and out of lanes and all that stuff. When it's raining and life is hitting you, that's when you're locked in. You're eyes straight ahead, don't looking for deer to run out and all this stuff. That's how we need to be living our lives. We need to be, looking straight ahead, intentional about where we're going, having that focus in mind. I was told my eighth grade year, going to high school by a high school AD. I'll never forget it. I live by this, or I try my best to live by this. I would say, but the saying is, begin with the end in mind. What are you doing now? What are you doing now that will set you up for later? What are you doing now that your 5 year older self is going to look back at you and be like, okay, I'm glad that you did that now. So now I have a routine built or I have structure built 5 years later or 10 years later. And that's how I try to live every lot, everything I do in my life, physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Now it's like, what am I doing now that my 27-year-old self will appreciate or my 35-year-old self will appreciate? The Bible says in First Timothy chapter 4 verse 8, physical training is of some value, but godliness has value for all things, holding promise for both the present life and the life to come. Yes, being strong, being big, that's nice. Looking cut, looking toned is nice, but it's not going to get you into heaven. Being nice to people, um, giving to the poor, doing all the right things, not lying, not cheating, not stealing. That's good, but it's not going to get you into heaven. But your walk with God will. Your intentionality with God will. Your relationship with God will get you into heaven. That's all God wants from us is that relationship with Him, and then everything will fall into line after that. I think about it this way: if you have a great relationship with your mom, or you have a great relationship with your dad, or whoever, you have a great relationship with somebody, you're not going to want to do something to it for them to like kind of like, I don't want to say shame you, but you wouldn't do something to make them look at you a different way. You know what I'm saying? If I love my parents and I'm well known and people know my parents, I'm not gonna go steal from a store that everybody knows me for, and then when I get caught, my parents are gonna be like, "Dang, like why'd you do?" Like then you'll feel bad. You'll have that respect for them that'll make you be like, "Okay, I'm going to the store. I'm gonna buy my stuff, do whatever." So then your parents will be like, "Okay, I raised a good kid. I raised an upstanding kid. That's good." And that's for like every aspect of life. Hold holding promises for both the present life and the life to come is so real, because those those values that you have for not only yourself but for other people are going to go such a long way. Like, bro, I I've just started my true walk with God and my intentionality with God just a couple months ago, and the transformation that I've seen myself has been so like a night and day change. And I love it. I'm telling you, I really do love it, because I'm able to help people. I'm able to help other people. I was watching a TikTok, and the guy was basically talking about God. He pulls us out of situations that we went through. He brings us out of times that we went through so he can renew us, build us, prune us, and get us right so we can turn back and go right back into those problems that we had, but to help other people. I battled lust for the longest. I battled depression and anxiety for the longest. And I'm not gonna lie, like I've been going through just as much problems that I've been going through when I was battling that stuff, but I'm equipped now. I'm able to recognize and I'm able to decipher what's good and what's bad for me. And for my friends as well. Being able to say, "Hey, I don't think this is a good idea," or "Hey, like you said that you wanted a better something than what you're doing now, like lock in." And being able to be equipped with with the Holy Spirit, being able to be equipped with the Bible readings that you're doing, and that mindset that you have, it goes so much further than what you think. Um, in Matthew, when Jesus was preaching on the mountain, he says that if your brother has a speck in his eye, you should pull the log out of your eye first and then help your brother. I and that hit me because I don't know if anybody listens to Lil Tony, but there's a big sound on TikTok right now that he's basically saying that we're sinners judging other sinners because they sin differently. And going back to the Bible verse, how am I supposed to help you with your sin if I haven't dealt with my sin myself? How am I supposed to help you deal with lust, help you deal with anxiety, help you deal with depression if I'm still going through lust, anxiety, and depression? So, my goal should be I want to build myself up in a way that I can help you out, not to say, "Oh, I'm free from lust, I'm free from depression, free from anxiety, free from all this stuff." No, my goal is to say, "Hey, this is what I dealt with. I dealt with lust, depression, anxiety for the longest, and this is how I got out of it. And I see that you're dealing with the same thing. How can I help you? These are the ways that help me. Do you want to have that conversation, or do you want to do this? Do you want to do that?" And just doing that alone, just being able to have a conversation with somebody that can relate to you, they appreciate it so much. Um, and no judgment, no condemnation behind it. Like, one of my favorite people that I love to talk to is my sister, because she doesn't she's she's not atheist, but she's not Christian. She believes in God, but at the same time she's one of those people that's like, why does God allow pain? Why does God allow such bad things to happen to good people? And being able to listen to her, being able to talk to her about problems that everyday people go through and that she's going through, like, getting that insight is so, like, eye opening to me, because everybody's like, God is so great, God does this, God does that. But being able to see somebody who doesn't see God in the same light as me, it's not only helping me, but it's helping her. It's her challenging my belief and saying, I don't believe this. Like, why do you believe this? And I'm saying, I believe God is good. I believe in God because this is what he's done for me. This is why I do what I do. And being able to be like, why don't you believe in God? And she says, I don't believe in God because X, Y, and Z. So my job at that point is to plant that seed in her of the good that God has done for me. God is challenging me in the sense of, hey, you say you believe in me, now show it. And this doesn't have to be a sibling. This can be a friend. This could be a random person on the street. Like, I see videos of people going to the LGBT marches, people going to, like, standing outside of clubs and professing the word of God and the good news. And they're challenging other people's beliefs, but those people also challenging their beliefs. But it's the way that they're able to stand on what they believe in is what God truly wants for us. He wants us to stand on our faith. He wants us to be able to sit there and talk to somebody who doesn't believe in Him and say, "This is why I believe, and I want you to believe the same thing, but I'm not going to pressure you." I never pressure my sister into believing in the Christ, because that's where the church has gotten it wrong. I don't want to judge you because you think a certain way or you do a certain thing. I want to be able to understand why you do it, tell you why I did the certain things that I did and why I'm changing. And hopefully that plants a seed. We can't there's no human that can turn somebody else Christian. There's nothing that you can say that will make somebody a devout Christian. Our job as Christians is just to plant the seed. Just, hey, this is what God has done for me. This is who Christ is. I would really love for you to know who Christ is. Plant that seed, and they're like, dang, like, okay, if God is doing this for them in their life, I wonder what he can do for me. Or just tell somebody like, hey, I think you should read the Bible today. Like, hey, I'm gonna send you a Bible verse, read it, tell me what you think. And they're like, okay, well, I'm gonna read this Bible verse. Oh, this is good. Let me read something else. Just turning turning those gears in their head. Make them curious about God. Hopefully, when they start reading, they start finding who God is. The Bible tells us that our job is to plant the seed. I believe it's in First Corinthians, where Paul is telling us, like, our job is to just plant the seed, and we water the seed. We have those who plant the seed, we have those who the seeds are planted, we have those who water the seed. But the thing is, our job is to plant and water, or be planted. We can't grow a flower, or we can't grow a fruit or vegetable by just planting it and watering it. The the fruit needs sunlight. The vegetable needs photosynthesis. Yeah, that's a good word for you. But the it needs so much more than just planting and watering. And that growing is God. God is going to be the sunshine that sprouts the flower. God is going to be the the warmth, the climate that's going to build the fruit up. So my challenge to you is find somebody to plant that seed in. They might not be Christian, they might be agnostic, atheist, whatever. They might be a Christian, but plant that seed of curiosity. Plant that seed of wandering and help them walk help them walk the way that they want to walk. Or if they're willing to walk that way, help them that way. That's the watering part. We plant the seed first, then we water the seed by them, by something like, hey, I was reading this today and I really found something out of it. And I'm like, okay, cool, that's what's up. I like that. That goes with, so and so. We have a buddy in our group chat who's finding his walk with God. And it started from just us talking to him about who God is. At first he was like, I know who God is. I heard of God, but the thing is, bro, I don't believe in him. Or I believe in him, but I'd rather trust myself first. And it kind of made me feel bad because I kind of felt like I was letting him down and letting God down, that he didn't know God. But that's when I was like, we began, like, as a group, we started, sending Bible verses to the whole group chat, and then he would read them. And he told us, that he was in his Bible one day, and I was like, bro, thank you, God, because I prayed for that. I prayed for God to plant that seed in him. I prayed that God nurtures the seed that I planted, or that we planted as a group. And he just recently told us that he went to church. He said that he was forced to go to church with his team, but he actually enjoyed it. He said that he told us that he was going to go back to church, and I'm like, thank you, God, that he's curious about you now, God. Thank you that he's kind of seeing who you are through you. Like, God is the only one who should be given the glory for that. Like, yes, we did our job in planting the seed, but sorry, my mama called me. I'm gonna call her back in a second. Mama, if you're watching this, I'm sorry I declined your call, but I loved you. But if we plant that seed and then God is nurturing that seed, God is growing that seed, then man, that's it's a beautiful process. It's such a beautiful process. That's really all that I got for you today. I got a couple questions for you to write down into some journals or to think on. But the first question is, what area of your life needs more intentional focus? What area in your life can you think about and look at and say, this is where I really need to work on? And how are you gonna work on it? Right, just write the first step or think about the first step. Um, for me, I want to be more intentional about serving other people. So the first step that I'm going to take, or I can think of taking off the top of my head, is just check-ins, checking in on my friends, asking them how they're doing, asking them how's their day going, and being genuine about that. Um, the second question that I have for you: are you actually connected to what you're doing, or are you just going through the motions? I'm going to be the first one to say for myself, I believe that I'm intentional about what I'm doing. I believe that there are some aspects in my life, like I said, where I wake up and three eggs, egg whites, seasoned blend, salt, pepper, garlic powder, read my Bible, go through my, intentional about what verses I'm reading, intentional about what I'm getting from the Bible. And then there's some stuff, there's a couple of things that I want to be really, really intentional about my work and what I'm doing. And the third one, what does mind to muscle connection look like in your relationships, your goals, or your walk with God? For me, my mind to muscle connection in relationships is that intentionality of checking up on people, that intentionality of listening rather than talking, listening, being slow to speak, quick to listen. My goals is I want to be able to write down just write down my goals on a sticky note and just put them somewhere in my office and just looking at them every now and then. That's something that I want to do. That I need to do. My mind and muscle connection with God is still gaining that intentionality, but now take it to another level. Like, yes, reading 2 chapters a day. Like, I usually do 30 minutes of quiet time in the morning, but I want to do 45 minutes tomorrow. Um, just taking it another step. And, those are the three questions I have for you guys. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Share this episode with someone who's on a physical or spiritual growth journey. I really do appreciate you guys for listening. Um, like it, comment, share it. Share it with your mama, your daddy, your auntie, your uncle. If you got a dog, you best believe I put this episode on for Asher when I go to work. Throw him in a cage, put him on the episode on TV. He might need something too. But I really do appreciate y'all. Thank you for listening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you have any ideas on something that you want to hear, feel free. Um, Instagram is Building Through Strength. The YouTube Building Through Strength. If you need my number personally, throw it in a comment. I'll send you my number, something like that. Whatever, any way possible that I can connect with you, talk with you. If it's just for a conversation, or if you want to tell me that my episodes are trash and I need to just stop making podcasts, that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. Let me know it. I really value genuine criticism. I'm not gonna be mad at you if you're genuine about your criticism. I can't be mad about it. But I mean that's how you feel. But we gonna end it here, man. Thank y'all. I really appreciate it. But keep 2 feet down. Keep one head up. 143, y'all.